Here on this 2017 Ford Focus, we're going to be having a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, part number RM-15267. We're utilizing our factory light bulbs in the vehicle to give ourselves our turn signals, our brake lights, and our tail lights. This way, our vehicle is safe and legal as we're towing it behind our motorhome. Now what's great about these, the diode packs are also going to allow voltage to only travel in one direction. It's going to leave your motorhome or your vehicle and go to the light bulb. When you have your motorhome hooked up, you don't have to worry about that voltage going back through the vehicle's wiring, causing damage to any expensive electrical components inside the vehicle. We have this 7 to 6-way included umbilical cable, which is coiled so it'll stretch as our vehicle goes around turns following our motorhome. We don't have to worry about it dragging on the ground this way either, causing damage to it. The 7-way end will go to the motorhome, and our 6-way end will go to the 6-way connector mounted on the front of our Focus. This will be the only connection that we have to make when we want to tow our vehicle. Simply push it in there until the door catches it, and this will provide all the electrical connections that we need between the Focus and our motorhome. There's no switches that we need to flip, no fuses that we need to pull or add, no breakers, none of that, just one simple connection. And now that we've gone over some features, we'll show you how to get it installed. Now while our fascia is still off, this is a good time to mount any breakaway switches for any supplemental braking systems that we're installing, or running any wiring for any of our tow vehicle lighting systems. So we did that, used some wire loom and electrical tape to conceal it behind our fascia, and we just routed the wires up behind where our headlight's going to sit on the driver's side, making sure we have plenty of wire to work with. We'll start off by taking our 4-pole flat wire, which we routed when we had our fascia off when we installed our base plate, and we'll separate the 4 wires. All right, now we'll take our connector, we'll take the dust cover off, and we'll slide our wires to the small end. We'll take some electrical tape now. We're going to tape our dust cover under our wire loom. Stick our wires back through. And we're going to strip off a little bit of insulation from each of our wires. Make sure all of the wires are twisted together nice and tight. We'll start off with our white wire. This is our ground wire. This will go to the terminal that's marked GD on the back side of our connector. So we'll loosen the set screw. We'll stick the white wire inside that terminal, and we'll tighten the set screw. Now our brown wire here, that's for our tail lights and running lights. That'll go to the terminal marked TM. Our yellow wire is for our left turn signal and left brake light. That'll go to the terminal marked LT. And that leaves us with our green wire. That's our right turn signal and right brake light. And that goes to the terminal marked RT. Now one thing I like to do to help prevent corrosion and poor electrical connections is put dielectric grease on the back side of our connector. This will just better protect it from any moisture that may enter the connector, since it is at the front of the vehicle and more exposed to rain. All right, now we can slide this into place. Make sure our cover goes over the back side of it. Now we'll secure it to our base plate mounting bracket using the provided hardware. Our 4-pole flat wire we routed underneath the headlight assembly when we had our fascia off when we installed our base plate. Goes alongside our fuse box, and then behind our battery box, and then down the firewall where it comes out underneath the vehicle. All right, when routing the 4-pole flat wire to the back of the vehicle, we made sure we avoided any moving parts or sources of heat. You can see where it comes down our firewall here, goes into this channel. We follow this channel back. Comes out here at this last hole. Goes behind this heat shield for our exhaust. Goes up above our rear subframe. Into a channel again. And then out right by this exhaust hanger on the passenger side. We went ahead and separated our 4 wires just like we did at the front, with our green wire going above our bumper beam over towards the passenger side where it's hanging down right now. All right, our white wire being our ground wire, we need to ground this to our vehicle's chassis. We're gonna do it right in this area here. So we're gonna cut off the excess. We'll hang on to the excess because we may need it for later. Now we'll strip off some insulation. Take our ring terminal that comes with the kit, stick it over the wire, and we'll crimp it into place. Now we use our provided self-tapping screw to secure it to the frame. Now we'll open our trunk, grab these covers behind our taillight assembly on each side, pop them loose. Behind that cover, we'll find the 2 nuts that secure our taillight assembly in place. We'll loosen these. Now we'll grab our taillight assembly, pull it away from the vehicle, and we'll remove our 2 bulbs from it. We'll pull the wires out of the assembly, set the bulbs aside, and we can put the assembly in the trunk. We'll repeat the same process on the other side. We went ahead and dropped a pull wire down behind our fascia and in front of the taillight area, and we taped our wires to it. Now we'll pull our wires up. Now we'll measure off about 6 to 8 inches of our wire and cut off the excess. We'll hang on to it because we may need it for later, and we'll strip off some insulation from both of these wires. Our yellow wire will crimp on one of our blue spade terminals. Okay, we have our excess brown wire and our leftover white wire from earlier. We're going to combine these 2 wires together so we have one long wire. The reason we're doing this is so that we can make an extension over to our passenger side for our taillight wiring. We'll use a heat shrink butt connector, which you have available on our website, to combine these 2 wires. We're using a 14 to 16 gauge connector. The reason we're using a heat shrink butt connector over a traditional butt connector is because once heat shrinked, these will provide a superior weather-tight seal and we don't have to worry about corrosion. We'll now use a heat gun, which we have available on our website, to shrink down the connector. We'll now take the white end of our extended brown wire, strip off some insulation. We're going to tie this together with the brown wire on the driver's side. We'll take our yellow spade connector, place it over those wires, and we'll crimp it down. And we can drop the extended brown wire behind the fascia where we brought our wires up. Okay, we now turned our headlights on, so our taillights are on in the back. And we're going to determine which one of these 2 wires is going to be for our taillight signal. Okay, we've determined it's our purple wire. That means our orange wire on this side is going to be for our brake light. Now we'll cut our purple wire in the middle and our orange wire in the middle. And we'll strip back the insulation on all 4 ends. Okay, now we took our leftover yellow wire and we made 8 small extensions. We'll be using 4 per side in the vehicle. This way we can mount our diode packs where there's going to have enough clearance to the taillight assembly back in place. So we'll just take these and we'll use heat shrink butt connectors to extend the factory wiring. And we'll just put this on all of our wires on the driver's side, and we'll do the same on the passenger side later. Okay, with these all crimped on, we'll also crimp on our blue spade connectors to our extensions. With all of our crimping now done on the driver's side, we'll shrink down the remaining butt connectors. We'll take our purple wire, this is our taillight wire, place that on one of the inputs of our diode pack. We'll also take our brown wire with the extension that's going to go over to the passenger side, put that on the other input side. Our extended purple wire that goes towards the bulb, and that'll go towards the output side. Our orange wire, this is our brake light bulb. This will also function as our turn signal when our vehicle is being towed. Output will go towards our bulb. Orange wire to one of the inputs. The yellow wire that we brought from the front of the vehicle will go to the other input. This is what it looks like with all of our connections made on the driver's side. Okay, we use some soapy water or rubbing alcohol, whichever you have, to clean off this area right here. This is where we're going to stick our diode packs so they're not going to interfere with our taillight assembly as we reinstall it. Peel off the double-sided tape, and we'll just press it down. We'll do the same for both of them. Okay. Now we'll reinstall our bulbs into our assembly. Okay, we routed our white and brown extended wire over our bumper beam to the passenger side, just like we did our green wire. We have them secured to a pull wire that we dropped down. Now we'll bring them up. Okay, now we'll cut off our excess wire. As it turns out, our white wire was just long enough, so we didn't actually need to add in the brown wire. The brown wire was going to be too short, so we could have just used the white instead. We'll strip off some insulation at the end of these 2 wires. We'll now crimp on our blue spade connectors, which is the only color spade connector we have left at this point. And we'll plug these into diode packs. Doesn't matter which one, just into one of the input sides on each diode pack. With our headlights turned on, we're going to see which wires for our tail lights. It should be the purple wire like it was on the other side, but we want to verify. And it is. That means our orange wire is going to be our brake light and turn signal on this side. We'll cut both of these wires in the middle. Strip back insulation from all 4 ends now. And we'll now crimp on our butt connectors to these and add in our extensions. We'll now crimp on our spade connectors to our extensions. We'll now shrink down our butt connectors. We'll now take our diode pack for our tail light, which is the one that has the white wire on it. And the vehicle end, we'll get our extended purple wire on the other input side. And our light bulb end, we'll get our extended purple wire on the other side. And that leaves us with our turn signal and brake light. That'll get our extended orange wire, vehicle end towards the input, and the light bulb end towards the output. And this is what it looks like with all of our connections made. Now we'll repeat the same process of sticking our diode packs underneath our fascia. And now we'll reinstall our bulbs and our taillight assembly. Now, just to keep any of the wire from coming down underneath our vehicle, we secured it up in the middle behind our spare tire well with a zip tie. This will secure any of the slack. Now we'll test out our diodes. We're going to do this by using a tester. Alternatively, you can just hook up to your motorhome. We'll start by turning on our tail lights. As you can see, we have functional tail lights on both sides of the vehicle. Now we'll do our left turn signal. Great. Our left turn signal is working properly. Now we'll try out our brake lights. And we have functional brake lights on both sides of the vehicle. Now we'll do our right turn signal. And as you can see, our right turn signal is working as well. So now we know we're going to be safe and legal as we're towing our Focus behind our motorhome. And that'll complete our look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, part number RM-15267 on this 2017 Ford Focus.